Sad reality is almost nobody understands money, and even fewer people pay attention to their money on a daily basis. So welcome to Loans Elevated, the podcast that brings you the latest industry news, expert interviews, and insightful discussions that will help you stay ahead in this dynamic market. I'm your host, Broch Lassig, and I've spent years in the trenches of the mortgage industry, helping individuals and businesses navigate the complex landscape of real estate financing.
I'm your co-host, Heidenreich, and together we'll cover a wide range of topics, from business strategies that skyrocket your success to mindset and motivation that fuel your growth.
Welcome back to another episode here with TJ and I. Today we're going over one of our favorite topics, and yes, we are maybe the biggest nerds on the planet, but it is one of our favorite topics. Now, I kind of want to preface this with, in our opinion, it's no surprise to us that consumer debt continues to mount higher and higher and higher. The sad reality is almost nobody understands money, and even fewer people pay attention to their money on a daily basis, or on a monthly basis. So today, we're going to introduce a budgeting tool that him and I have used for years and years. We learned through a business coaching program of ours, but it's a very simple budgeting tool that allows you to get a handle on your personal finances and manage things to ensure that you're not overspending and getting yourself in unnecessary debt.
A little bit more insight too. To kind of piggyback what you said, we get to see inside everyone's financials on the daily basis with pulling people's credit. And I would say more often than not, people have credit card debt, and credit card debt right now is just terrible to have.
Well, the crazy thing is, in this high rate environment, the most common conversation I'm having is, well, what payment do you think you can actually afford? And there are a few clients that are very savvy. You can tell they have zero, like literally we pull their credit and there's nothing, there's no open obligations. Yeah. There's a few of those clients occasionally that are savvy and they're just like dialed in. They know exactly what they can spend and they're very conservative. But more often than not, we find like, just some random number and they throw out a number. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, why? Is there because I'm showing you can qualify for more. Is there something that you think I'm missing? And they don't know how to answer the question. I'm like, all right, well, what if we become your own bank? Right. We use that strategy. I'm like, hey, if we paid this debt, and this debt off, we eliminate $1,600 per month. Does that mean that you said your goal payment was $2,500? Could you now afford $4,100?
Right, because they're not taking the factor of their total out of pocket. They're just thinking about their mortgage payment. They're like,
right. But the crazy thing is, they say no way. Right. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. You just said you could afford $2,500 a month. I'm showing you how to eliminate $1,600 per month. So you're still spending the same exact amount of money. But I think that just underscores that so many people don't understand money, and money is such an emotional thing that most people try to bury, because the fact is, I think virtually everyone wants to have more money and save more money and be able to spend more money. Right. It's just kind of a natural thing.
And I think budgeting, the word itself, has a bad connotation with it, because people are like, oh, if I budget, I can't spend any money. I can't be doing anything. We've kind of, through this tool, I look forward to it. Now, some months it's not super fun, but a lot of months I'm like, okay, cool. I look forward to it. So I know where I'm at. I know what I'm getting into for next month and months ahead. So it's really good.
Yeah, I agree. And I do too. I look forward to it. TJ and I both kind of do it the same way. We have one day a month that we're looking at it. We have our spouse involved in that review of the budget. And we're just kind of analyzing everything once a month and kind of gamifying it, like try to save a little bit more, spend a little bit less. Like, there's a way to gamify it and make it a fun thing. And we track our like net worth growth every single month as well, to kind of see, one, how is the market performing based on our investments, and two, how much are we saving and what's the growth over time, which is cool. Now, the magic behind it is something that I just quickly said, but this is very, very, very important. And most people that I teach, they are resistant to this one thing. I was even resistant to this for a long time, which is you have to do it one time per month. It has to be an event, basically. A couple hours. Sometimes, I guess sometimes mine takes like 4 hours. We were building a house and the budget was very complicated, and it would take like 4 hours to do every month. But we're diving in, and the reason one day a month is it's something you can count on with you and your spouse, whatever. A day you can count on, and you can just be solely focused on analyzing in depth what you're spending and making adjustments. So essentially what you're doing, just high level, is every month you're reviewing, all right, what did I get paid last month? What were the bills what were my expenses last month? So it's almost like a profit and loss for the household last month. And the budget part is you're analyzing that profit and loss, if you will, from last month and implementing changes for the coming month ahead. So I do this on the first of every month. So for example, if it was like November 1st, I'm reviewing all of October's income, all of October's expenses, and basically taking an accounting of a profit and loss. And then I'm saying, all right, what can we eliminate, or how can we adjust our spending going into the month of November, knowing that, we may need to start Christmas shopping and doing all these different things. What changes do we need to make, and what do we need to proactively plan for going into the next month? And so we're making conscious decisions, not just looking at the checking account and like, oh crap, I don't know, I don't have any money, I don't know why. It's not a negative thing. Some months if you make less money or there was an unexpected expense, it's not like the funnest thing, but at least you're on top of it, not just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. So anyway, that's why we love it. It's a really cool system. So we want to dive in and just quickly explain the process for you real quick, and we're going to hopefully give you a visualization based on us talking about it, and then we're happy to share with you a version or a template of this budgeting form so you could implement this in your household if you wanted. So dive into the very first step, because this might be the most critical and should be like
almost
a couple hours invested into making sure this part's done right.
So in this, for those of you who are listening, we've got a spreadsheet which we'll link, or you guys can feel free to DM us, reach out to us, and we'll get you a copy. But in this spreadsheet, there's 5 columns. So before you even get to the spreadsheet, though, you want to print out both your credit card statement and your bank account for, I'd say, the last couple months, just to start out.
Minimum the last quarter, I would say. Because you got, like, sometimes there's only quarterly
expenses,
charges for
like a credit card.
Exactly.
Yep. So go through all of that. And I highlight everything. I color code it too. I highlight everything in there, and then I put it into column 1. So this might be an electric bill, gas bill, cell phone bill, your mortgage payment, your auto loan, credit cards, whatever you spend on a monthly basis. Write it down in this column.
So column 1, just to clarify, essentially what you're doing is you're categorizing your spending and labeling those categories, or trying to refine those categories based on your spending over the last quarter in column 1. So those are just labels of what expenses you have on a monthly basis.
Correct. And then I also, and I don't just do this the first time. Actually, I go through this probably once a year, and I audit, deep dive on what I'm actually spending money on, and I'll take some stuff out. Like
100%.
Like if I've got subscriptions I don't use anymore, because in today's day and age, it seems like you have a subscription for everything. So
and it keeps getting worse, which is crazy.
Right.
I do that on a monthly basis.
Right.
Every month, my goal is how can I cut one expense out of the household?
Actually a good goal to have.
Just one expense.
Right.
It could be a $5 thing, or it could be a $500 thing. We cut one expense every single month.
That's smart. So you put the name of the bill, but then also put the balance. So if you've got a mortgage, write the balance of the mortgage payment on there, auto loan, credit card, whatever it is, put the balance off to the side so you have an idea of how much you owe on that debt.
Within the same column. So column 1 is the title of the obligation, and then in parentheses, the balance of that obligation.
Correct. Anything else you'd add to column 1?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So now we take column 1, where you've got everything labeled, and it's a comprehensive list. Like, there should not be a charge in the last 90 days as you review all your charges that doesn't fit into one of these columns. Now, I do have a miscellaneous row. I have a miscellaneous label for random stuff that there's no way I could foresee. I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but just random stuff. I do have a miscellaneous bucket where some stuff falls. But now that's the far left column. So you go one column to the right, column number 2. And what you establish here is the monthly minimum amount owed on these bills. So your minimum mortgage payment, your minimum car payment, minimum car insurance payments, student loans, whatever the minimum is. Now on credit cards, that's a debatable one, and it depends on everybody's circumstances. This is something we walk through with every one of our mortgage clients, is an analysis of their obligations and how to kind of manage these a little bit. So we'd be happy to chat with you about that too. But on credit cards, ideally, like the way I use them is that's everything that we spend our money on, whether it's groceries, fuel.
A placeholder, in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's just that's like my debit card, basically. So what I put, as far as in column 2, what I put on my credit cards is not the minimum payment that's due on the credit card. I put the lifestyle expense amount on the credit card. So if it's like, all right, we have $3,000 per month in spending money for fuel and, groceries and all that stuff. That column would be $3,000. It wouldn't be the, $75 minimum payment on my American Express or something.
I do mine the same way. I feel as if the only way that you should do it differently is if you have credit card debt.
Yeah, if you're carrying credit card debt, that's where it differs.
Yep.
100%.
Correct. Then you'd put the minimum payment.
Put the minimum payment and you'll understand why in the future. But anyway, column 2, you basically put the minimum amount owed, and ideally at the bottom of this column 2, there's going to be a total sum amount at the bottom of column 2 that shows you what your our coaching program calls it the survival number. So what are the expenses you have to pay on a monthly basis to maintain your lifestyle, pay your bills, get groceries for your family, all of that stuff. What are those expenses? Column 2 should list what your survival number is, so that you kind of know how much money you need
have
every
to
single
bring
month.
in order to survive. Yep.
Exactly. Yep. So what we wanted to explain there is how to establish the setup or a template. And that's actually a quick little pro tip is create a template. Don't edit the page that we're talking about you creating. Name that in Excel or in Google Sheets or whatever as the template, and then copy that template page into each month so that you don't lose the template, and then it's easy to manage that. But so that's how you create the template. Now we're going to go into how you execute on it on a monthly basis. So you dive in what column 5 looks like.
So column 5, this is the last column, the far right column. You're basically just doing inventory of all the money you made from the previous month. So all the paychecks, we total up paychecks from both me and the spouse, and then also any rental income you're going to be getting, any money coming in.
Venmo deposits, transfers from friends for the concert that you bought their tickets on your credit card and they paid you back. Any positive, even the interest payment you get from your checking account balance, anything, every single positive deposit that goes into your checking account or whatever your operating account is, goes into this column 5 every month. So you just take an accounting of all the incoming deposits.
Exactly. Then once you have all that filled out, then you want to go back to column 3.
So you're not editing 1 or 2, generally speaking, on a month-to-month basis. It's really number 5. Now bounce over to number 3.
Correct. The only thing you might be editing in number 1 is the balances you have. Yep. So now we'll go to column 3. That's the amount that you're paying on the bills. Usually it's just your monthly payments, but then also if you've got like your credit card that you pay off every single month, you're going to put the amount paid on there.
Just to recap, column 2 shows the minimum monthly owed. Column 5 on a monthly basis is how much you get in deposits. Column 3 is how much you actually paid that month. So to repeat, if it was November 1st that you're doing this budget for your October budget or October analysis, all the deposits that went into my bank account from October 1st to October 31st go in column 5. And then all of the expenses that came out of that account from October 1st to October 31st go in column 3. Most everything is on auto payment. So a lot of people get tripped up like, well, I can't do this once a month. Like, my car payment's due on the 12th and my mortgage is due on the 1st. And the bottom line is put it all on auto pay. You know your paychecks are going into the account, and then you just go do an accounting of it. That's the one time a month thing that we're talking about.
Right.
Automate everything else. But then in column 3, if you pay extra to credit cards or whatever, say you're carrying a balance, your minimum payment is 15 or 25 or 150, whatever. Make sure you're putting what you're actually contributing to that credit card as a payment, not just pushing in what the minimum payment is. And I guess this is what you're going to say earlier, but column 5, everything at the bottom should have a total sum. So you should have a total sum of all your deposits in column 5, total sum of all of your minimum monthly amounts due in column 2, and then a total amount of what you actually paid that month at the bottom of column 3. And column 3 and column 5 have to match every month. So this is $0 budgeting, and it's a very common practice. A lot of pretty much any budget tool that I've ever heard of does $0. But you're literally sweeping every penny out of checking, and it has to be allocated somewhere, whether that's savings or it was to a bill that you had to pay, whatever the case is. So now let's dive into savings, which this one's unique because it goes into both.
So, and we failed to mention that you also put like your giving on column 1 and any
donations,
anything that you're going to be spending money on, as well as investments. You're going to put all in column
all the savings. Exactly.
So if you have excess money, if you've made more than what you've spent in column 3, the excess money is going to be going into your giving, your savings, whatever. And then that's also going to transfer over into column 4. So you can see the amount that you have saved every single month. So you're keeping track of that. And
Yep. So column 4 solely is strict. The only purpose of column 4 is how much did you save that month? And that's a fun thing to gamify as well, because you can like, all right, can we save an extra $100 this month or whatever? You can kind of gamify that in column 4. But the amount you spent in the month goes into column 3. So column 3 and column 4 on the savings example is going to just sweep over to column 4. Now, in column 4 as well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good, go ahead.
But if you're paying extra on a mortgage, for example, so if your payment's $2,500 and you're paying $3,000 on your mortgage, which is a debatable recommendation, we'd be happy to talk to you about that. But you would put $500 saved in column 4 because you paid $500 more than your minimum amount due. In column 2, you paid in column 3 $500 more. So that flows over to column 4 and helps add what your total savings were. But then if you're carrying credit card debt, that, from my view, because it is savings. If you can eliminate credit card debt, that might be the biggest return on investment you could possibly have on your dollars, is getting rid of that debt, because the credit card rates are so high. So if your minimum payment is $75 and you paid $400 that month, then in column 4, that should mean that you saved $325 that month. And then at the bottom, like I said, you can kind of gamify how much you saved in the month.
But that's not savings if you don't carry a balance, if you pay off every month.
Exactly. So if it's your debit card like I use it, I don't carry a credit card balance, and I've got a $7,000 balance on my credit card, on my business card or something that month, and it's a $150 minimum. I don't get $6,850 in savings because it wasn't savings. Those are just non-itemized
day-to-day expenditures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's key that column 3 and column 5 match up. But say you didn't make enough money that month and you went negative, you had to dip into savings. What you would do, they still need to match up. That's not so what you need to do is you would put on the column 5, pull from float or pull from savings. And you would write down the amount that you pulled from, so that way it still matches up.
So in your bank, you would be transferring, say you were negative $500 that month, you would transfer $500 to checking, for example, and you would add a $500 deposit in column 5, or the far right column, as income, so that column 5 and column 3 still match.
Correct.
I mean, from my perspective, that really sums up the budget form itself from a monthly kind of P&L perspective. And then, like I said, after you get that all done, you're now analyzing with the family, where did we spend money and where can we cut money this month to increase our savings number? And that's how you gamify that, or increase our giving number or whatever. That's where I spend most of the time. Like just inputting the stuff that I just explained is that's not a lot of the time. A lot of the time is like, let's look at the credit card account. Where did we spend money, and what in the heck can we cut out of this budget? So that's that, and that's kind of the basics. So I want to just repeat. We have a form for this. We can share the template, and we have like a PowerPoint presentation that walks you through all of these steps. So if you want to implement this in your family, which I would 1,000% encourage you do it, just DM us, and we're happy to get you a copy of this. It's like, it is so powerful. But now at the bottom, we could kind of dive in and talk about this.
Yeah, I think that one of the most important things is your money market or the money float. You want to have 3 times whatever your survival number is. That way,
3 to 6.
3 to 6. Yep. Yep. Correct.
And that's important, because like, if you run into a situation where you get laid off from your job, you keep this money in the bank to ensure that, you know, if you don't have a job, you can still make your mortgage payment and still feed your family, and you're not going into debt
to
do
all of your expenses from
exactly all your living expenses. So your lifestyle doesn't change for 3 to 6 months is the idea. Now, one thing I will say that is just more of an opinion of mine and a recommendation of mine: if you're carrying credit card balances, don't have any money in savings. It doesn't matter. You don't need any dollars in savings, because if
it's not worth having money in your account if you're making 25% interest.
So you want to pay that all off. And some people are like, well, what if an unexpected bill comes up? Then just charge the credit card again. It would have had a balance on it anyway. So wipe out credit card debt first before you even think about this money market balance or the float balance or whatever, 3 to 6 months.
Do you believe in paying off the lowest balance first, or highest rate, or highest interest rate? Is there a preference you have? Does it matter?
I like the lowest balance. I mean, I think it depends.
Effect, like the Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, the snowball effect is good, because like there was a time when I got out of college that I had some debt, and that was good for me because it's almost like a victory. You get that account paid off, but then like the extra $250 a month I was spending on that bill gets to roll into the next one.
Slay the dragon.
But there is also some I think it's dependent because you know, if you want to pay off if you're paying if your credit card balance is $15,000 and your car loan is $4,000 and your car loan's at 4%, your credit card's at 25%. Obviously, pay the credit card.
Yeah, for sure.
So outside of that, there is some tracking mechanisms which are super fun, like percentage saved this month. So we target bare minimum 20% of our deposits need to be saved on a monthly basis, and then it tracks how much did you save year to date. So that's fun as well. You set a goal at the beginning of the year. We want to save this much money. And again, you gamify it and it allows you to kind of stay on track with your plan. And we actually have another kind of nerdy spreadsheet for calculating that kind of goes in with this, calculating your financial independence and financial freedom numbers, how much you need in retirement savings to get to the point where you're either financially independent, which means you could quit working and pay all your bills, or financially free, which means you could quit working and pay your entire lifestyle and all of the fun luxuries that you want to spend. So that's pretty fun because then that basically reverse engineers to how much you need to save every month. So then you could tie that into this of like, all right, if that's our goal every year, then you could gamify this every month with yourself or your family.
Yeah. I would say everything else is really just tracking.
Tracking your net worth.
All your net worth, whether it be your 401ks, any stocks you have, equity in your homes. And it's fun to see every month how that increases and decreases too.
Yep. And then tracking your giving too, donations. That's fun too. And that's another way to gamify it is like, how much can we save? Let's maximize that. How much can we give? Let's maximize that. How much is our net worth? Let's maximize that. So it's a really fun tool. We'd love to share it with you. Hopefully this is helpful. Gave you some inspiration. The crazy thing is, I just want to close with this. Today, I saw a report that officially the United States credit card balances for consumers, this does not include business credit cards, just consumer household credit cards, is over it's $1.08 trillion as of last month. That's like crazy. And the rates on these are higher than they've been in 20 plus years.
Crazy.
This is a dangerous thing. And our hope is that this inspires you to get ahead of it so that you don't fall victim to that, because we are facing some interesting economic times ahead. And so another call to action for you is if you want some help analyzing your personal budget and possibly looking at what options you have for like debt consolidation to simplify this for you and your family. There are some powerful tools that we have from a mortgage financing standpoint. If you're a homeowner, like second mortgages that can wrap everything up into one, and it's a much lower mortgage rate, a much lower payment or monthly burden, and it also possibly becomes tax deductible too. So these other random debts, throw it on a mortgage, it becomes a tax deductible expense, which is powerful as well. But
I think that's key, what you just said, with the power of a second mortgage. We have it might even make sense to refinance. And even if you're leaving a lower mortgage rate, it still might make sense to refinance because of you're paying off all of the consumer debt. But the second mortgage, the advantage to that is you get to keep that low rate.
Yeah, you get to keep the low rate on the first mortgage. You get a rate on a second that's higher than your first mortgage,
but lower than consumer
way
debt.
Lower than all the other debt. Yeah, but to TJ's point, and we'll analyze this for you and present whatever options are available. But even a refi can be power. Like I took a client from like a 3-point-something rate to a near like high 7.75 rate on a cash out refi to consolidate all their debt. And because we consolidated all their debt and they saved so much money, if they just went and reinvested all the money they were previously spending with all these high interest debts back into the mortgage, because we basically got them into one obligation, just their mortgage. They reinvested into their mortgage. Instead of paying it off in 26 years, they're paying it off in like 12 and a half years.
It's crazy.
Even though their rate went from 3-point-something to 7-point-something. It was nuts. But all options are available. We'd be honored to help you analyze what options are available for you and put you in a more resilient financial position. So please lean on us. And if you want copies of the spreadsheets, we're happy to share that too. So just hit us up.
Thank you for tuning in. For more industry insights, follow us on all platforms at Loans Elevated.
And to get in touch with our team, call or text 801-713-4000 or visit loanselevated.com.